Welcome, people of the World Wide Web. So it's the weekend, and as usual, it's a movie review. So I've been on a little bit of a splurge, or trying to early into 2024. I've had a few movies that I've wanted to see, and as you know, this is the new movie Poor Things. Um, so this one necessarily wasn't on my main list to watch. I kind of come to I'd seen it. It looked a little strange to me. Emma Stone won a Golden Globe for the role at the time of this shooting. I don't know if she will go on to win any Oscars or something. So this is the movie Poor Things. It's directed by Yorgos Lanthimos, if I pronounce that right. I've not seen anything this director has directed before. And yeah, just to basically summarize this movie, who people who don't know, is basically Emma Stone plays the main lady, Penny Paxton. And if I try to explain it, it's going to give a few little bits away that you don't kind of see in the trailer. So let's stick a spoiler warning up now. So apologies if you haven't seen. So she plays Penny Paxton. What you don't realise until part of the film with, she is actually another lady who is pregnant. Unfortunately is in a very abusive relationship. Again, these are parts that you don't find out until near the end of the film. She jumps off the London Tower Bridge, I think it is, into the water and more or less dies. Her and the baby are around about the level that you would mostly die. They are found by William Dafoe's character, Dr. Goodwill Baxter. He basically reanimates them, but he reanimates them in a way that he takes the baby out, takes the baby's brain, inserts it into the mum's brain, and then sort of Frankenstein's it. And this I will use probably Frankenstein quite a lot in this review. So basically she has the body of a adult woman, but her mind is very much of a child. So she is learning. She walks in a very particular way and acts very childlike in the very beginning of the movie. This is kind of how this then goes on. So you have the doctor herself, who is essentially her dad, played by Willem Dafoe. He then has an assistant that comes in, played by Rami Youssef, who's Max Candles. So he is kind of an assistant to William Dafoe's character, and he basically is brought on to live in with them to kind of look after him. Emma Stone's character is basically housebound. She isn't allowed to go out, because obviously she is kind of another person, but because William Dafoe is kind of like a Jekyll and Hyde character. He works at the university or the local doctor hospital place. They don't really say where it is. I assume it's a college. It could be a hospital. And then he basically, because that's where obviously he meets Max Candles. And this is how kind of the movie starts. So you have, the dad has created this woman, and William Dafoe is very disfigured and that. As time goes on, Max obviously kind of falls in love with Penny Paxton, Emma Stone's character, and basically then William Dafoe writes up an agreement for them to marry, but obviously they have to be housebound because of obviously all the stuff that goes on. I said it's a very weird thing you'll see in William Dafoe's house. He has animals cut together and stuff like this. It's all, as I say, very much a Frankenstein, type of doctor or the doctor. Whoever created Frankenstein, I can't remember, but obviously, yeah, it's kind of him. During the process of this, the person who writes up is Mark Ruffalo. He's kind of a lawyer person. He takes a fascination with Emma Stone's character, and they kind of run away. And then it's kind of her finding herself all around Europe, and then coming back because her dad is dying in the end. That is a gist of the movie. Yeah, it had very much good points. It had good acting. The story and stuff is very weird. Now, this, from what I can understand, is based on a book in the early 90s. The person who wrote it, unfortunately, I don't think is alive anymore now. So I can't remember who the person is. Apologies, I didn't add it into it, and I don't know any of their other stuff. And this is very kind of fictional. I say, as I use the Frankenstein motion, it's there are a lot of them. It was all right. It was worth a watch. It's probably not my cup of tea. Even looking at a trailer, I said it may have. I did like some aspects of it. I did like the acting and that, but it's not something I'm really going to run out to get another copy of. You know, yes, maybe years down the line, if I find a really cheap copy, I may add it to the collection and may give it another rewatch down the line, but that's where I am. So anyway, so let's open up the story and let's get more into it. I know I've already done spoiler, so apologies. So yeah, so obviously the movie starts, we have Penny Paxton, she looks like a kind of a young woman. Her dad is obviously helping her to try and adjust to normal life, so to speak. He is very disfigured. You learn that his dad was very kind of a scientist and it kind of experimented on him, and then obviously he's created this kind of child because it's kind of the Dr. Frankenstein trying to create kind of your own creation. And obviously Penny Paxton is kind of the baby's brain inside a adult woman's body. This is what working obviously when he goes and teaches at the local school or hospital, wherever that is, and obviously Max Candles is very fond of him and his work, and that's why he gets kind of he walks home with William Dafoe's character one day, goes in, sees his daughter and is amazed, and obviously he learns a little bit more, and that's why then William Dafoe's like, you know, come on, work with me, monitor her training, and obviously this is when he learned that she is still. He doesn't know it's a baby's brain inside it until later on, but obviously she starts to learn words. He just thinks maybe she's some sort of experiment because he said she's had some brain issues that he resolved and there's a scar at the back. As time goes on, obviously Max learns the truth, does fall in love with her, and, you know, says, you know, I want to be with her. Emma Stone starts to explore her body, and this is where it starts. Warning, it's an 18 rated. There is a lot of nudity, partially by Emma Stone and by other people. There's a lot of sexual reference in there and stuff like this. It's not something you'd probably want to watch with your family. I went by myself, so I was alright, but even I was a bit like, there's some not nice looking, or there is people of a very different, very olden day, I think it's like Victorian style, who supposedly not good looking men who are in a brothel and stuff like this, that you get to see fully naked, that you may not want to. Just to forewarn for that. You may want to see Emma Stone naked, and then this might be the movie for you, but yeah, it is what it is. So anyway, so they decide to get married and have this agreement. Mark Ruffalo turns up and he says he takes kind of a very attraction to Emma Stone's character, and they run away. And Emma Stone's character is very weird. She's very much like, well, yeah, I will get married to the assistant, Mark Candles, but I'm going to go with this guy and have sex and explore Europe and do what I want to do basically before I get married. So it's a very weird mindset and stuff like this. So then they go on Europe and they interact with loads of people. It starts to get a bit weird between her and Mark Ruffalo. Penny Paxton's character, the Emma Stone character, meets loads of people and interacts, and she enjoys and stuff and food, and as she travels around, unfortunately, they then fall on hard times because she starts to see the reality of what the world is. They end up getting kicked off a boat at Paris and have no money. Mark Ruffalo kind of runs off. Emma Stone's character then becomes a prostitute basically in France, and that's where she spends most of her days until she realises her dad is dying, goes home, her dad dies, and then kind of everything is kind of a nice ending. She marries Max and all this stuff. And there is her old life does come back into it, but I'm going to leave that out because obviously a little bit of mystery for people who don't know. Now, as I said at the beginning of this, visual wise, it looks very nice. This has a lot of sets. It does have a lot of CG and stuff in there. It has a lot of natural built sets and stuff like this, and I really, really like this. The costumes, the feel of it are great, absolutely amazing. I like this sort of stuff. I've said I'm moving away from a lot of the CG stuff, and I like the more kind of modern made stuff, stuff you can hand touch and interact with. So for that wings, the costumes look a bit brilliant. Emma Stone, I can see why she got the Golden Globe for this, because of the way she acts all the way throughout the movie and stuff, and everything she has to do in there. She does play the role really, really well. I will definitely give her hands down for that. The movie, funnily enough, hasn't been that much of a success. I don't think it was released in September of last year in America, and it's only just released over here, and it hasn't even made its budget back. So I think even though this is going to be high acclaimed, it's not going to be a financial success. I think it's kind of, like the Sundance movies, I think it's going to be kind of classed into this category. Now I say, like, the acting is the acting is good, the look of it is good, and it's a fictional world and stuff, and Frankenstein, and I get all that. The story for me is just, I say, a little weird. The fact you don't know it's obviously like a baby's brain inside a woman's body. Her explaining and being a whore, maybe in those times that was acceptable and the only thing to do. Maybe there are underlying tones that I missed. But it is, as I say, as it starts to go on, when she goes to live house, it starts to become very sexualized, and that's the main, I would say that's quite a lot of focus of the movie, plus kind of her learning a world. I don't think that necessarily had to be as sexualized as it needed to be, but I've not read the book, I don't know the story, you know, I don't appreciate for that aspect. I just go in to see it for what I watched and how I interpreted that. Overall, I give this a 5.5 on them. You know, for me, it was, it was okay to watch. You know, visual wise, and the you know, the hard backgrounds and the materials all used and the sets and the clothes and everything were amazing, and I have to give it hands. That's where most of it comes from. For the story and stuff like that, I was like, meh, you know, just wasn't for me. That's not to say that the film's rubbish. It just, and not to say that, you know, other people might go, this is 8, this is a 9, this is, you know, this is amazing, this is stuff, I've read the book, all that, because, you know, we always have issues when there's a book and there's a movie, and no one ever likes both of them. There's always one or the other. But not knowing this kind of source material leaves his review a little low. But anyway, that has been my review for Poor Things. I say, watch the trailer. If you like the look of the trailer, go watch it. There'll be some nice surprises in there for you. It's, I think, 2.25 hours, 2.5 hours. It is quite a long watch, I must admit. About 2 hours in, I was a bit like, I'm ready for this to end. But obviously they are telling a story, so I'm not going to walk out of the cinema. And there's quite a few people watching it. But yeah, anyway, that has, as I said, that has been my review for Poor Things. I've been Cypher Sigma Screen Time. Hope you like this movie review. Have you seen this movie? What do you think? Have you seen the trailer? What do you think? Let me know in the comments down below. I'd be interested to know people's views and opinions on that. Otherwise, I shall see you in the next one.